Ben Johns just confirmed he is heading back to Vietnam, and this time he is not coming alone. The world's #1 pickleball player is returning to Hanoi for the MB Hanoi Cup, the single biggest PPA Tour Asia event ever assembled, running from April 1st through 5th at the My Dinh Indoor Athletics Arena. But the real headline is not just that Johns is showing up, it is who he is bringing with him. Gabriel Tardio, the explosive 20-year-old ranked among the top 5 men's doubles players on the planet, will stand beside Johns on the court. The two will form what might be the most dangerous men's doubles pairing in PPA Tour Asia history. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why this partnership was built, why Johns' return to Vietnam carries a deeply personal edge, and what it all means for the future of professional pickleball on the global stage. To understand the magnitude of this moment, you first need to understand who Ben Johns is and what he represents in this sport. Benjamin Ellingham Johns was born on March 18, 1999 in Gaithersburg, Maryland. He picked up a paddle at a young age and turned professional in 2016 when pickleball was still a niche sport played mostly in community centers and retirement communities across the United States. Fast forward to today, and Johns is not just the face of pickleball, he is the standard by which every professional player in the world is measured. At 26 years old, he has accumulated more than 180 PPA gold medals. He holds over 123 PPA Tour titles across singles, men's doubles, and mixed doubles. He has won 21 Triple Crowns, which means he swept all 3 disciplines at a single tournament 21 separate times. His singles winning streak once reached 108 consecutive matches, a record that stands entirely alone in the history of the sport. His DUPR rating sits at 7.11, the highest of any player in the world. He has competed in more than 850 professional matches across 114 tournaments and maintains a career win rate of 86.4%. Outside the court, he co-owns 3 businesses, including Pickleball Getaways, Pickleball 360, and Johns Design and Consulting. His mixed doubles partnership with Annalie Waters produced 16 consecutive event titles, the longest winning streak in professional pickleball history. His men's doubles partnership with his brother Collin Johns yielded 43 medals and 33 titles together, a legacy widely regarded as the greatest doubles run the sport has ever seen. In every measurable way, Ben Johns is the most accomplished and decorated pickleball player who has ever lived. But here is where the story shifts from dominance to drama. And it starts with what happened the last time Ben Johns played in Vietnam. At the MB Vietnam Cup in 2025, Johns entered men's doubles alongside Deco Bar. They were expected to cruise through the draw. Johns was the top seed, the crowd favorite, the player everyone in the arena came to see. But in the semifinals, something broke down. Armand Bhatia and Zain Navratil came out with a game plan that systematically disrupted Johns and Bar's rhythm. They exploited gaps in court coverage, applied sustained pressure on Bar's side of the court, and forced Johns into uncomfortable scramble positions where his usual surgical precision could not bail the team out. The result was a semi-final exit. No podium finish, no medal, no gold. For most players, losing in the semifinals of an international event would still count as a respectable result. But for Ben Johns, the most decorated player in pickleball history, walking away from Vietnam without hardware in men's doubles was a statement that echoed across the entire professional circuit. The message was uncomfortable, but unmistakable. Even the greatest player in the world can be beaten when the partnership dynamic is not right. Johns left Vietnam without a doubles medal, and anyone who understands his relentless competitive nature knows that result has been sitting in the back of his mind, quietly burning ever since. Now, months later, we are seeing exactly how Johns plans to correct that. He is returning to Hanoi with a completely recalibrated approach, and that approach has a name: Gabriel Tardio. At just 20 years old, Tardio is one of the most electrifying young talents in professional pickleball. He is ranked #4 in the world in men's doubles and carries a DUPR rating of 6.922, placing him 5th overall on the global leaderboard. He is fast, powerful, and utterly fearless on the court. He drives
to me,
the
this
ball
is
with an
definitely
aggression that puts
something that's
opponents
very
on their
good for the
back
type
foot
of
from
speed-ups
the
I
very
hit.
first rally. He covers ground like few other players in the sport can. And in a move that adds another fascinating layer to this story, Tardio recently signed with Pickleball, a Vietnamese paddle brand, which ties him directly to the local market and gives him a built-in connection to the host country before he even steps on the court in Hanoi. This will be Tardio's very first PPA Tour Asia appearance. He has spoken publicly about his excitement to play in Asia, describing the crowds as awesome and expressing genuine enthusiasm for the experience. But wanting to compete on a global stage and actually performing under the weight of that spotlight are two very different things. So why does this specific partnership matter so much? Let us examine this through three critical lenses that will determine whether Johns and Tardio succeed or stumble in Hanoi. The first is matchup and partnership dynamics. Ben Johns is widely considered the most complete player in pickleball. His soft hands at the kitchen line are legendary. His ability to reset rallies from deep defensive positions is unmatched in the men's game. He can play both the left side and the right side of the court at an elite level, giving his partner a degree of tactical flexibility that most teams in the world simply do not have. When Johns played with his brother Collin, the chemistry was built over years of shared experience, thousands of reps, and an intuitive understanding of each other's movements. When he played with Deco Bar in Vietnam, the pairing lacked the explosive athleticism needed to counter the aggressive, high-pressure teams that thrive in tournament environments. Tardio solves that problem directly. He is one of the most physically gifted players on the entire PPA Tour, with lateral speed that allows him to cover the court sideline to sideline, vertical explosiveness that generates pace on overhead shots, and a drive game that creates offensive opportunities out of nothing. When you pair Johns' surgical shot-making and tactical intelligence with Tardio's raw athleticism and power, you create a team that can win points in multiple ways. They can grind opponents at the kitchen line with patience and precision. They can overpower teams from the baseline with driving attacks. They can counterattack off speed-ups that would pin most other partnerships into defensive corners. The official PPA Tour Asia announcement described Johns and Tardio as the top two ranked duo in the world forming a team. And that description is not marketing spin. It is a factual assessment of what this pairing represents. On paper, this is one of the most complete men's doubles partnerships ever assembled for a PPA Tour Asia event. The open question is not whether they have the talent. It is whether two players who have not logged significant tournament hours together can find their rhythm quickly enough to navigate a stacked draw in an unfamiliar environment. The second lens is mental pressure and reputation. When Ben Johns loses, the entire pickleball world pays attention. His semi-final exit at the MB Vietnam Cup was not a quiet result that faded into the background of a busy season. It was analyzed, discussed, debated, and replayed across social media platforms and pickleball forums for weeks afterward. Every competitor on the professional circuit filed that result away as evidence that Johns can be beaten, especially in doubles, especially when the partnership dynamic does not click. Johns is fully aware of this narrative.
I think this shape is very conducive to a lot of forgiveness. Longer handle helps.
Someone who approaches setbacks with the analytical rigor of a chess grandmaster reviewing a lost game. He does not make emotional decisions. He makes strategic ones, grounded in data, film study, and honest self-assessment. Returning to the exact same country where he fell short, with a partner specifically chosen to address the weaknesses that were exposed, is the most Ben Johns response imaginable. He is not running from the narrative, he is rewriting it on his own terms. For Tardio, the pressure operates on a completely different frequency. This is his debut on the Asian circuit. He is 20 years old, representing a Vietnamese paddle brand and partnering with the most famous pickleball player alive. The My Dinh Indoor Athletics Arena will be packed with thousands of passionate fans who follow pickleball with an intensity that rivals anything on the American tour. The energy, the noise, the expectations from sponsors, media, and spectators, all of it will be amplified far beyond what Tardio has experienced at a standard PPA Tour stop in the United States. How he handles that pressure, whether he rises to the occasion or shrinks under the white-hot spotlight, will define the early chapters of his international career. The third lens is scheduling, travel, and environment. The MB Hanoi Cup spans 5 full days of competition, from April 1st through 5th. For American players, competing in Vietnam means dealing with a significant time zone difference that disrupts sleep cycles, tropical humidity that saps energy faster than temperate conditions, and the cumulative physical toll of long-haul international travel. These are not trivial factors. Fatigue accumulates over a multi-day tournament, and players who are not properly acclimated to local conditions can see their performance drop sharply in the later rounds, precisely when matches matter the most. Johns has the advantage of experience here. He competed at the MB Vietnam Cup in 2025, so he knows what the travel feels like, how his body responds to the humidity, what the arena atmosphere demands, and how to structure his recovery between sessions. Tardio has none of that experience. This is entirely new territory for him, and every aspect of the trip, from sleep schedules to hydration strategies to pre-match warm-up routines, will need to be adjusted in real time. The stakes amplify everything. The MB Hanoi Cup is a PPA Asia 1000 level event with up to $300,000 in prize money and valuable ranking points at stake. The PPA Tour is building toward a unified global ranking system by the end of 2026, which means points earned in Hanoi carry exactly the same weight as points earned in Texas or Arizona.
A gold medal here does not just look good on a resume. It materially moves the needle on world rankings and has implications for seedings at every major event for the rest of the season. Now, let us talk about the element that makes this particular story stand out from every other tournament preview or partnership announcement. The truly unusual thing here, the not normal factor, is the pairing itself. Throughout his career, Ben Johns has overwhelmingly chosen to partner with experienced veterans. His legendary partnership with Collin defined an entire era of men's doubles. Even after the brothers split, Johns gravitated toward players with deep tournament experience, proven track records, and established reputations. Choosing a 20-year-old who has never played a single professional match in Asia is a significant departure from that pattern. It tells us that Johns sees something in Tardio's game, some combination of athleticism, mentality, and upside, that he believes can be weaponized on the international stage in a way that experience alone cannot replicate. Then there is the Fakolos factor. Tardio's signing with a Vietnamese paddle brand right before his first Asian tournament is not a coincidence. It creates a narrative dynamic where Tardio is not just another visiting American player. He arrives in Hanoi with a local commercial connection, a sponsorship tie that gives Vietnamese fans a personal reason to root for him. Whether that translates into a genuine home court advantage or becomes an additional source of pressure remains to be seen. But the optics are powerful and deliberate. A young American star with a Vietnamese sponsor, partnering with the greatest player in the history of the sport at the biggest PPA Tour Asia event ever held. You cannot manufacture that level of story. It writes itself. The rest of the field in Hanoi only adds to the drama. Caitlin Christian returns to Vietnam after winning the women's doubles title at the MB Vietnam Cup last season and will be hunting for more gold. Hayden Patriquin, ranked number 3 in the world with a DUPR of 7.003, brings serious firepower to the men's draw and could be the biggest threat to Johns and Tardio. Tyra Glack, one of the most exciting young talents in women's pickleball, makes her PPA Tour Asia debut. Federico Stocksgrud returns for his second Asian appearance after competing at the Hangzhou Open. Anna Bright and Dylan Frazier round out a lineup that represents the deepest and most talented field that PPA Tour Asia has ever assembled. For Johns and Tardio, that means every match from the quarterfinals onward could be a legitimate battle against a team fully capable of ending their run. So, what are the possible outcomes? In one scenario, Johns and Tardio click immediately. They find their rhythm in the early rounds, capitalize on Johns' familiarity with the Vietnamese tournament environment, and combine it with Tardio's explosive athleticism to steamroll through the draw. If that happens, this partnership becomes the template for how top American players approach PPA Tour Asia events going forward. It validates Johns' decision to go young and athletic rather than experienced and cautious. It announces Tardio as a legitimate global force at just 20 years old. And it gives Johns the redemption he has been quietly seeking since that semifinal exit. The implications for the unified global ranking would be significant, as a dominant performance in Hanoi, combined with Johns' existing PPA Tour points, could create a commanding lead heading into the mid-season. In the alternative scenario, the chemistry is simply not there yet. Tardio struggles with the unfamiliar conditions. The crowd energy overwhelms rather than energizes, and the partnership cannot find the communication patterns and court awareness that elite doubles requires under pressure. Johns, carrying a disproportionate share of the tactical load for a partner who is still finding his footing in an alien environment, cannot generate enough offense to overcome the deeper, more battle-tested teams in the later rounds of the draw. An early exit would not be catastrophic for either player in the long run. Johns has nothing left to prove in his career, and Tardio is only 20 with a massive future ahead. But it would raise legitimate questions about whether youth and athleticism alone are sufficient to compete at the highest level in Asia, where environmental factors, travel fatigue, and unfamiliar crowd dynamics consistently favor players who have been through the fire before. Here is my prediction. Ben Johns did not fly halfway around the world to lose in the same country twice. He chose Gabriel Tardio for a specific, calculated reason. He studied the film from last year's MB Vietnam Cup. He identified exactly what went wrong with Pickleball, and he selected a partner whose strengths directly address those exposed weaknesses. Johns does not make impulsive decisions. Every partnership he forms is calculated, deliberate, and built to win. I believe Johns and Tardio reach at least the finals of the MB Hanoi Cup. Johns' meticulous preparation and prior experience in Vietnam will anchor the team through the adjustment period, while Tardio's explosive energy, athleticism, and hunger to prove himself on the Asian stage will provide the offensive firepower that was missing last year. This is a revenge tour for Ben Johns, and if there is one thing we have learned over a decade of watching him compete at the highest level, it is this: you do not want to be standing across the net when Ben Johns has a point to prove. Now, here is what I want from you. Do you think Ben Johns and Gabriel Tardio will take gold at the MB Hanoi Cup? Or will the pressure of a brand new partnership in an unfamiliar environment prove too much to overcome? Gold medal or early exit? Drop your answer in the comments.